The adventures of Koholint Island begin. Join me as I play Link's Awakening, my second Zelda game ever. Thanks for watching, and enjoy. Well, welcome back everybody. It's your boy, BrianSaviano, here for another enthralling episode of Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this episode here is quite substantially longer than the other episodes. That's because this is basically the whole episode is the dungeon. There is no extra things to unlock. It's done. It's over. It's whatever. There's one more item, but otherwise, the whole dungeon is the whole episode. And cutting it into two doesn't seem very productive time-wise and whatnot. And Marin is walking so slow. But yeah, so there's a couple things I'm going to do in this episode. I'm going to talk about the fair that I went to. So I went to, obviously, Toronto. Then I went to AAC, another anime convention. That's the name of the show. And then I went to the Big E, which is a fair, a county fair out near Springfield, Massachusetts. Basically, the equivalent of where the dragons live in Massachusetts. Basically, Boston identifies itself as only Boston and the North Shore and Cape Cod. So basically, Massachusetts is basically this, right? It is a rectangle, and there is like a section right here. There's like an arm, like a hook right here, right? So this hook. So the only part that we Bostonians identify as Boston is like this segment here. So like, you know, where I am up here, Boston, South Shore, Cape Cod, right here, that whole thing, this doesn't exist. This, we don't care. So it was basically out where we don't care. And it took me an hour and a half to get out there from where I'm at, which is the North Shore of Boston. And yeah, this dungeon is also very explainable and self-explainable. And I went with Kevin Hinkle, a good friend from within the LEGO community, as well as Joey Maluzzo, a.k.a. Maniac for Bricks. Went there with them. Kevin's from Connecticut, Joey from New Jersey. So we all went on a grand adventure together and went to the fair. Before we get into the fair thing, though, this is the only time you actually need to use that shield for anything. Nothing like that appears in the game at any other point that I've seen, so whatever. Before we get into that, though, I want to try on camera here this Ruffles All Dressed seasoned potato chips from Canada. Wanted to try this out and see what it tastes like. And yeah, just do that. So I'll do that in a second here. This is an interesting thing because there is a boss battle here that is in the overworld. So what you need to do is, well, I go into here, actually, to try to get a tip from Mr. Phone Man, which I don't typically do, but I wanted to showcase it here. Old man here. The head of the turtle is in your way. You got to use the ocarina to make him move. So I do that in just a second here, and obviously proves to not work one way or another. But yeah, so, and you got to use bombs to destroy him. So here's a secret teleportation area right there. Make sure you uncover that, because how would I have found that otherwise? So I'm going to try these chips here. I'm only going to try one of them, because I'm not going to eat on camera, because that's kind of not cool for you. These smell kind of whatever. Yeah, they're okay. You know, they don't smell like anything, you know, out of the ordinary so far. So I'm going to try two of them right here. It's a bunch of everything. They actually don't have a lot of flavor. Well, they do. But, like, so basically, I'm only trying that. And I'm going to eat the rest after this episode. Basically, you know, if you took, like, a roulette wheel, or, like the wheel on, like, The Price is Right, and you just spun it, and, like, every single, like, thing, every single, like, little increment was like a flavor. It's basically what that is you go like and like you taste all the flavors happening at like one time. and like your taste buds try to identify what flavor it is in that second there, and it just spins through everything there. So it's very interesting, very good. But they're not like, it doesn't smack you in the face with flavor. It's good flavor. It doesn't taste awful, but you know, instead of getting, you know, a bunch of bags of, you know, sour cream and onion and then barbecue and whatever, and like mixing them all up in a bowl, you're basically just getting all of that in one little condensed package there. So that doesn't seem like a Canadian thing, you know. It just seems like a thing they should do, like everywhere, because it just tastes good. Like I don't see how that's like a thing that only like Canadians would actually enjoy, you know. Like it's good. It's not, because usually like, and I mean like poutine isn't like a thing that like Americans wouldn't eat either, so why not bring it to the States? But whatever. So I guess these companies have done their research and been like, all right, well, this wouldn't work in the States, so whatever. So that's how you enter the dungeon right there. That's it. And yep, you're looking at the duration of the video and you're like, Brian, the whole episode is a dungeon? Yeah. Turtle Rock, it's the last dungeon, well, technically the last major dungeon in the game. So it's a lot to take in, so make sure you follow along here. There is quite a bit of editing toward the middle here. It can get very confusing, so apologies in advance for that. But, you know, that is what it is. So enough about the all-dressed seasoning, enough about the game, which is why you're watching, but whatever. I'll talk about the Big E, because it's a whole experience. So, yeah, it's basically out where the dragons are. I've never been, as far as I can remember. Maybe I went as a kid. But I don't remember, so there's that. It's basically, as Kevin had described it, to be the county fair to end all county fairs, which in a sense it is. There's all sorts of different buildings that have things in them. Go figure, right? One of those things is like, you know, animals that have like farm animals, and then there's also, you know, like different buildings that have arts and crafts and agriculture stuff and like everything. Anything and everything you could think of for like a county fair, it's there, including all of the different food stands from carnies that are, you know, questionable in terms of how clean they are, serving questionably real or fake food. So yeah, I kind of mess up right here. That device, I don't realize I can actually aim and create the path to not just be one straight line, like you can move it all around. You'll see it later in the video. But there's everything there, you know, the games that are obviously rigged for you to lose so you can get a bunch of money out of them. Or they can get a bunch of money out of you, I should say. So it's the whole kit and caboodle, the whole experience there. And the aspect of the story I really want to tell is this right here. I end up going to the convention, the fair. And the fair it's unique in a way than anything I had ever seen before. So in this fair, there is each of the states of New England that are represented by a building that each state pays for. So there's a whole building dedicated to Massachusetts, Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Vermont, and New Hampshire that is a good summary of everything that it is. So in Maine, they're serving lobster. They're serving baked potatoes, which there was a massive line for. Vermont had mac and cheese because they have Cabot cheese up there. There's a Ben & Jerry's stand. But a lot of it is like the same because like New England is known for, you know, fish and lobster and maple syrup and just stuff. So it's all kind of the same similar stuff. And so we're going through each of the different states, and I'm not seeing anything that, you know, is gravitating toward me, whatever. You know, a lot of like arts and crafts stuff, a lot of stuff that's like proper for a home. So like here's like a carved sign for your home that's custom. Here's custom designed spoons. Here's pens, like all this stuff. And it's like, all right, whatever. And there is mobs. I can't emphasize how many people were, droves of people. This was the last weekend of the convention, the fair actually happening. So there was so many people everywhere. And we went at noon, which, you know, people typically show up early in the morning. They leave early, whatever. I try to use magic here. That's not what you need to do. There's an item that we get in a little while that actually helps with this whole thing here. I try to see if there's a secret door here. There is not. But yeah, so so many people everywhere. Going inside of those buildings that are represented by the states is like, oh man, this is I don't want to do, and I didn't really want to do it. Kevin wanted to do it. He's like, I got to show you everything all around here. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm just going to go with the flow. And I'm still exhausted from being at that anime convention and Toronto and not sleeping beforehand, getting ready to leave for Toronto, making videos, etc. So I am like on nothing for energy. My energy is like at like 2%. Like I'm trying to play Pokemon Go on like an iPhone when it has 1% battery is pretty much what like I was doing, and like it just my brain was fried. So that's why I'm still like tired. So we're going through each of these state houses, and I'm in Vermont, and I see this stand, and it has and they, you know, fairs have all sorts of food, right? They have all sorts of carny food, fried dough, fried Oreos, fried everything, fried butter, fried whatever, right? So I'm not about the life. Like I take enough risk in life driving my car on the highway to get to this office, let alone eating fried butter. You know, I can't. I gotta entertain y'all. I can't be putting myself into cardiac arrest. I can't afford to do that. I hate myself after. I hate myself just enough after eating a donut when I know I'm not supposed to, but not enough to eat fried butter. You know what I mean? There's a fine line there. And they had like they literally had like a fried mozzarella stick the thickness of this water bottle. And I'm not joking you. Like comparative to like the size of like my hand, like like picture a mozzarella stick, people. This thick. It's disgusting. And Kevin was like, I saw it, I gotta have it. And I'm like, do you want to die? Why are you saying this? Don't do it, Kevin. This is bad for you. So we're walking through Vermont, and I see a sign on this, this booth. And it says maple cream, maple thing, blah, 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 whatever. And my mind, on no fumes, is like, oh, well, that must be like a fair delicacy thing. They're like, it must be a thing. Because, like, maple cream, it's not like, is it maple ice cream? Is it like a variant of it? Like, what is that? So I go up there, and they have all these different things, and the maple cream is in, like, this little, like an ice cream cone this big. It's super small. Like, by comparison, what do I got here? The easy button? It's, like, smaller than the easy button. It's like this tall to the easy button, right? So it's not a lot. And I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Cool, what is that? Like, I didn't even ask what it was. I'm like, all right, I'll take a I asked, like, what this thing next to it was. And it looked like fudge, but she's like, oh, it's not fudge, it's maple candy. And I'm like, all right, whatever. So I just bought that. I bought the cream, and I bought the candy. And I'm eating the maple cream in, like, it looks like basically not quite melted ice cream in this container, but it's, like, hot outside. So I'm like, all right, well, it's clearly not ice cream. So I eat it, and it tastes like maple. And I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. So, and I'm like, afterward, I'm like, oh, that's like just enough. It's just enough of a little container. You know, it's not overwhelming. It's just enough. And so we go throughout the rest of the day. They're apparently famous for their cream puffs and eclairs, neither of which I was incredibly impressed by. These are apparently the world famous blah, 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 blah. I get better stuff in the North End when I'm in Boston, all right? Not impressed at all. Not even a little bit. And Kevin, bless his heart, obviously very passionate about these things. And I'm like, I'm just going with the flow, right? But like I eat the eclair, and the eclair is like this big. It's huge. It's like I have a can of Raid right here. It's like this long. It's like half the size of this can of Raid right here, right? For just like a frame of reference. So I eat the eclair, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I eat the I got like fried fish, like out of a stand, that, like, it's from the clam box, which I'm familiar with. I've been there before, and they serve good fish, and it was a good cut of fish or whatever. It's fried, but whatever. So I do that, and then going through the show even more. I don't order, like, I don't get any other food, I don't think, that I remember at least. But then I'm there. So then, like, later in the day, I go from the Big E, and then I go to the convention again, and I'm like, what did I eat? You know, it kind of hits me. I'm like, so maple cream. So if it wasn't, it looked like melted ice cream. So it wasn't maple, it wasn't ice cream. It wasn't cream because it was thicker than cream. What is it? And I kept thinking to myself, what is it, Brian? What is it? And keep in mind, I don't eat the gross food like that. I'm not about that life. Okay? So then I look up what maple cream is. And that's when it hit me, ladies and gentlemen. I ate a small ice cream cone's worth of butter. I literally eat butter. And I hate myself for it. I am so, like, disgusted that I just ate butter. Now, did it taste good? You bet your bottom dollar it did, but I ate butter. After trashing people who are just eating fried butter, here I am, not knowing maple cream, duh, it's butter. It looks like ice cream, but it's not cold. Okay. Well, if you take cream and you whip it enough in a mixer, what does it turn into? Butter. Right? So I didn't realize I ate that. And it hit me. And I'm like, this is... why did I do that? And it, like, no, Kevin didn't warn me. Joey doesn't know where he is half the time. He certainly didn't warn me. So, I don't know if Kevin knew and he's just like, all right, whatever. But, like, cool. So, I ate that, and I'm still kind of disgusted by it. And I went to the gym today, and I worked off, obviously, enough calories to you know, get the butter out of my system, get all the oils out. You know, I'm not trying, like, I don't willingly eat gross stuff like that. Like, the worst I'll do is, like, donuts. I'll get donuts from Cane's, and then, but it's not gross. It's not like I'm going to Five Guys, and I'm like, this is going to make me die. Like, I don't do that. I don't do that because that's objectively unhealthy. The grease is going to enter my system, and my heart will stop. I'm not trying to do that, which is why I haven't gone to Five Guys. The only times I've gone to Five Guys was when I was, like, very hungry and, like, I had not eaten all day and I hadn't eaten in a while and, like, whatever. So, and, like, very rare circumstances there. So, this is also where you access one of these things here, the crystal there, just so you know. There's that thing. And you kind of maneuver your way all the way around there. And that actually helps with another section over here. So, and turns out, yeah, you can move the direction and do all that, and that's how you get the chest right there. That just actually gives you rupees, so whatever. So yeah, 20 rupees, cool. So, you make your way, you fill up this whole thing too, and that's how you get a key. A key of which I didn't realize I needed for a while. So, there you go. So I still kind of feel gross. I still feel kind of disgusting when I think about it. So I'm going to not think about it. And I'm going to do my best to, you know, go to the gym. I'm going to get totally back into it. I went on Sunday today, which I never go on Sunday. And I'm going to get back into it and just, you know, like, and the more that I exist in life, I will forget about it. But then I have to live with that for the rest of my life, that I just straight up ate butter and I enjoyed it. And do I regret it? Of course. Just from the calorie standpoint, from the concept of knowing that I just ate butter, like, it haunts me. And it shouldn't. I don't know. Like, and I don't, you know, it doesn't, it just doesn't make me feel right. You know what I mean? I just feel just kind of grossed out. So if you eat butter and you enjoy it, that's fine. If you want to eat, if you just want to pause this video and plop into the fridge and just eat the whole stick of butter, go for it. Don't do that. That's disgusting. Because at least it tasted like maple. So it wasn't like I ate butter. Like, I'm just gagging thinking about it. Like, it wasn't like I ate butter. Like, just like, grab like a bowl of margarine, just take a spoon and eat it. Like, it wasn't like that. But, like, it tasted good. So that's why they served it like how it was. So, and the girl didn't tell me. Because she saw I was fat. And she's like, all right, this guy knows what he's doing. He knows that this is butter, and he's going to enjoy it. And whatever happens, happens. So, for actually this dungeon right here, that section right there, I defeated those 2 things. Don't bother. Because the reward for that actually appears on that second level there. So there's another technique to defeating those 2 things where you get the reward. So, because, yeah, it's a whole big thing. So, you'll see eventually. So, and over here, you gotta, like, hook shot all the way over here. And you get the reward, sure, the cream, which is great. The secret medicine, I should say. And you have to fall down here, make your way all the way back, just so you know. So, and there's no way for you to get back the other side. Even if you charge it, it won't let you, see? It forces you to do a standard jump. So, there's that. And now we're back basically kind of to where we were before. So, I don't know if I had done a catchphrase for this series yet for, like, rice pudding. But if you enjoyed me eating a stick of butter, it kind of rivals the Wendy's story, I think, that I told in Mario Odyssey. I think it's close because, you know, like, I don't know what's more disgusting. Me seeing the hair on the burger or me willingly eating butter. I'm willing to say the butter was a bit more gross because at least I didn't eat the hair, you know? I saw the hair, threw everything out, but the butter I ate. So the catchphrase for this series, ladies and gentlemen, by any and every means of the internet, let me know the phrase maple rice pudding if you enjoyed this story. If you paid attention, if you want to, let me know you enjoyed the story and enjoyed this series. Let me know that. And so you know, so yeah, what you do here, throw the bombs down on this area and the chest spawns up there. That's how you do it. So, and just so you know, every time that you remind me of maple rice pudding, I will slightly gag at how disgusted I am with myself. So if you want to remind me of how much turmoil I put myself into, that's how you can remind me, is by saying maple rice pudding by any and every means of the internet. It's you know, and I will forget about it in time, but for now, no, and it still lives with me. And the more that I eat other things, the more it gets out of my system. But now I think it's going to actually help me from the standpoint of I will not be as willing to eat buttery things for a very, very long time. So if I see just a dish that is just soaked with butter, like a pasta dish or a something, whatever it is, right? I won't eat it because I'll just be so grossed out at like what it is. And I'm like, you know what, whatever. And I guess that's not how I get to that area there, but sure, whatever. So I don't actually know. Oh, I should have hook-shotted, whatever. So cool. So yeah, let me know. Maple rice pudding. So that's why I'm like, let me eat a little bit of these and just see what it tastes like to get the taste out of my system there. So that was my experience there. And the biggie, it was cool seeing all sorts of animals. You know, they had like the Clydesdale horses there, which are like I couldn't even tell, like 10 feet tall, like at least 1,000 pounds per horse. Like these horses are just massive, massive horses. Like, wow. And they had like a carriage competition and stuff like that. It was such a big thing and a big deal for everyone that was out there. I had seen similar things from the Topsfield Fair when I was younger, and I plan on going again actually this weekend. So, you know, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary, but it was definitely the Topsfield Fair times like 100, it seemed like. It was very, very big. And I walked around for 5 hours and saw 85% of the show. So for people that are out in Springfield and like Western Mass, this is like a big deal. And it is a big deal, you know? It's a sizable fair. Is it worth the drive? Yeah, if you got family and kids and whatnot. But like, if you're out there and, you know, an hour and a half commute is like a lot for a family, I'm sure. So to bring like, you know, your 5-year-old, your 4-year-old, whatever, and they're like, Mom, I want to go home. This is dumb. I don't want to look at llamas anymore. I don't want to look at dogs, which I don't know why you wouldn't want to look at dogs, but you know how kids can be. How I know how y'all can be sometimes. So, you know, I get that. So it's just whatever. It was fine. It was a fine time. If I were going by myself, I would have enjoyed it significantly less. Thankfully, Joey and Kevin were there. And now this is that's how you defeat those two things from up top there. It's a bit more difficult, but still doable. And that's how you get, I believe, the final key for this area. I'm not quite sure. So, yeah. And then you make your way over with the hook shot and all that. So, also another thing I think you got to do is deactivate the crystal from before. You got to try and do that again. It's a whole big thing. There's a lot of backtracking here too. So there's editing as well. Yeah, so like that section right there, you got to eliminate or rather just change up the crystal at another given point there. So yeah, keep that in mind, but whatever. So here's a little mini boss here for you. He's relatively easy. He likes to punch. So this is the only time you face off against this guy here. So you got to make sure you jump over him and stay away from him because he'll try to slice and dice you here. Give you the 1-2 punch. So that was the big E. And then immediately afterward, I went back to the convention in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. It was the anime convention, of which I was still running on empty for fumes. So now I am a bit more recharged. I think a good night's sleep is due for tonight after I edit the remainder of the series and do other stuff too. So yeah. So here, you got to go back to where we were before, deactivate the crystal, and that is how you get the boss key. The crystal is where that directional pad was before, and you change that all up there. You get the magic rod, which allows you to cast fire from longer distances. So magic only works when you are super close to a flame or like a, what is it called? The bonfire kind of thing. It only works when you're right next to it. But here, with the magic rod, you can use it from long distances, which helps, obviously, with this boss in the dungeon, and I believe the final boss as well. So there's that. From here, I believe I go and try to find the way out of here without editing. That way you have a grasp on the dungeon layout and whatnot. Again, use a guide in case this is too confusing for you, which is totally understandable. I do my best, but it's tough to edit this and not be redundant and whatnot. So, and if I didn't edit things out, we'd be here for a very long time. So you got to be pretty precise with it as well. So there you go. That's how you do that. And that actually wasn't the boss key before. Okay. This is probably the boss key right here, right? I'm assuming so. Yes, it is not. Okay, cool. It is definitely not. Nice. So it appears eventually. You got to use that magical rod, though. So, yeah. That was my 3 days, which the 3 days were very eventful, and it feels like I have done so much in the past 2 months. Like, I went to like a friend's vacation. Like, I had all my friends hung out in Gloucester like 2 months ago, and it doesn't seem like 2 months ago. It seems like forever ago because so much stuff has happened, and I've gone to Virginia for 2 weeks and Toronto, and I've been to New Jersey earlier this summer, and just like so much stuff, so many things, and like I'm so ready to like not do things anymore for the rest of the year. And now I'm actually done. There is nothing else I want to do. There's no other place I want to go. There is nothing at all, and I guess that was not going to work that way. I thought it might, but yeah, no. You got to back out and retry the area there. So now I'm actually done. Every time I say, all right, I'm done traveling for the year, it turns out not to be the extent of the travel for the year. Now I'm actually done. I'm convinced I'm not going anywhere. I don't want to go anywhere, whatever. So this guy here is actually kind of difficult if you don't have the strategy that I end up figuring out. So the sword actually blocks him out here. What you're supposed to do is use the fire stick here to, use it on his behind, his derriere, his buttocks, his butt. But, yeah, it can be kind of difficult here. I do end up cheesing it quite nicely here, as you'll see in a hot second. You can use bombs and stuff if you want to. That doesn't really work. you kind of have to... Actually, you don't even use a magical rod here. You don't need to use a magical rod. I try to trick him out, but it doesn't quite end up working out here. So, like, that's kind of what you're supposed to do, but not really. I end up using the boomerang, as a matter of fact. The boomerang here ends up being incredibly helpful, and you can just destroy him in just a couple of shots here if you figure out what exactly to do. And you corner yourself into here, and because he goes toward you, he kind of trips himself up. He kind of, like, doesn't even, he'll try to corner you here with this effect here, and just stays out of the way enough that you can finagle away to defeat him. So that's great. And you just do that basically a bunch of times. It takes a little while, but yeah, if you just stay in a corner, you're good. And I'm assuming here is where you fill in this entire area and make this happen and you're good. I thought I did it. I got it in one shot. Wow, that's pretty cool. I thought I might have messed it up, but no, cool. And yeah, you can kind of mess this up easily, so make sure you don't. And even if you do mess up, you just leave the room and try it again, and you're all good. And if you leave this area, you obviously got to redo it again. So there you go. There's a nightmare key. That is the boss key, the final one that we will need to complete this dungeon and basically the game. You go through this way over here, this right side, which I had never actually acknowledged before. But yeah, you go over through seemingly this way here. He's going to try to damage you there. But yeah, this right side here is where you want to go. It seems like I should have gone that way before, but I definitely did not. So this area can be a bit tricky as well to figure out. You kind of have to figure out because the magical rod will go in one direction one way, and you kind of have to figure stuff out to land yourself there, like, and get to the bottom of where you need to go. But yeah, it takes a little bit of a while, and you kind of land it just like that. So it's a bit tricky to do, but yeah, I obviously figured it out here. So yeah, and even there I messed that up there, so you got to go back. And there's a certain way you can throw each of the magical rod bits there to catch yourself in the right area here. Do I actually end up getting it? I don't think I do on this one, no. I forget what the exact order was there, but I'm sure I'll be getting that in just a second here. So there's that one. There it is. Okay, cool. So you got to clear those two out, and then you're totally clear to go up to the top there and do the whole thing there. So yeah. Now at this point, it's fairly easy. You just do the nightmare key and you're good. So for this final boss, but not really final boss, the final dungeon boss, he is easy enough as well. You don't need to move from this platform on the bottom here. For being the last of the guardians of the instrument of the sirens here, Hothead he's okay. You use the magical rod here to just keep destroying him. He's actually fairly easy, I think. You get like one shot right there to try it. I have full hearts right here. You just keep the shield up whenever he appears here, and he turns into not that. Using a boomerang here is probably your best bet to get him to move in a different direction, or just your sword, or the sword rather, is what's going to do damage. The boomerang just changes his direction, so, or it stops him in his track at least. So he's going to keep doing this over and over again. He's going to kind of block the way, it seems, a little bit here. He does get faster over time. I did speed through this a little bit here. So there you go. There's that as well. And basically rinse and repeat. Using the magical rod, obviously, is ideal. But you don't need to. It just helps you cover more distances that way as well. So, yeah, you don't need to move from this platform here. And there's his true form right there, the spiky ball form, which I believe you could just even swipe your sword if you wanted to. But yeah, just a couple of times there and you're pretty much good. He looks kind of like an enemy out of Doom in a weird way here. Why did you come here? You cannot wake the windfish. Remember, you two are in the dream. It was only just a dream, so I traveled back down that road. Anyways, there's a heart container, and that will be the final dungeon in the game, ladies and gentlemen. The instruments of the siren right? That's what it's called. Yeah, they have been assembled. That is the final one, the drum. What good song would be leaving out a drum? No good songs, because the drum is almost always welcome. The thunder drum. Lightning and the thunder. Yeah, so that's an Imagine Dragons reference for you there. Make sure you block your eyes again because it's going all white. Yeah, block your TVs, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the final instrument, and now we're going to do, I'm going to do a live commentary. I'm going to do the video like I normally do, and show you a few more things in the game, as well as the final boss in Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I want to thank you for listening, watching, tuning in, and meowing it out with me as always. My name has been BrianSaviano, a.k.a. Brickso Brian. I'll see you for the finale. Peace out. Bye.